and burn.
Hey everybody! So tonight I am looking to discuss the Refused's massive landmark album, the Shape of Punk to Come, came out back via Epitaph, I believe, in 1998. Oh god, this record is messy. I do really like this well, no I don't, actually. I like parts of this album, but I really respect the Refused, and I respect what they were going for on this album. I just don't really know why they couldn't find more of a consistency in the flow, the songs, every song's flow. Look, I'll get the good out of the back. I'll get the good out of the way. So I love the production. I love the use of electronics. I love the artwork. I do love the songs. I mean, New Noise is on here. It's like, God, I've loved that song since '98. Except I still take issue with that song too, because again, this entire record is too loud, soft, loud, soft, loud, soft, left, right, up, down. It's like there's no sense of consistency. Like, for example, I made notes because I'm professional. Like with the Worms of the Senses, it's got a really fun groove. It's a memorable song when it gets going, but it's too long. Having the opening song being 7 minutes and then having it quiet down and then kick back in to the rhythm, the song starts and then the song ends and then it does all this sort of like more like experimental electronic-ish shit throughout it. And actually, you know what? I could sum up the entire record just by discussing the first track. I find that overall the songs are too long. There's no balance. They're way too uneven. And it seems like just when the songs start to get good, the songs stop and they fall into sort of more of like an interpretive, free-form, jazzy sort of electronic soundscape sort of, I don't know, like a news broadcast-ish vibe that comes like, for example, Liberation Frequency, we want the airwaves back, fuck, I could not agree more with that line, but it takes like a minute and a half to get going. I mean, when I first heard this record way back, I'm thinking to myself, like, I wanted to find a way to edit it so that I could cut out all of like the sort of lackluster mids that this record had. I mean, it just Deadly Rhythm, for example. Deadly Rhythm is a lot of fun, and then it falls apart at like the 140 mark, and it just gets too jazzy again. And I mean like straight jazz. Like it's like the punk is lost to this sort of more weak sounding experimental sort of artistic jazzy shit that just does not work for me at all. And it just detracts from my ability to go wild when the songs call for it. It's like traditionally, I don't want to you're free to do whatever you want with whatever record you're making. And again, this record is really important and this record has like landmark status and this thing is a huge, huge part of like punk rock history. But keep the energy going. Is that so much to ask for? Why is it that when a really fun and motivating and aggressive beat kicks in and the song starts to like propel everything forward, like I'm walking to the bus or some shit to catch the bus to school in the morning and I'm angry because I don't want to go to school, and then like, oh yeah, dude, the fucking charged up part of whatever fucking song on here kicks in, and yeah, but then just as you get on the bus, fucking song slows to a crawl. It does all this sort of weak sounding background noise garbage. And it just goes on for the entire record that way. 1 minute the record is up and it's crazy. And the guitars are thick and the fucking bass drums matter. And the bass guitar is right in your face. And you're completely going wild because you're like, holy shit, this is the best thing I've ever heard in my fucking life. And then like barely a minute after it starts, it gets all quiet and sort of sleepy and more experimental. And the fucking song will drone on and on for 7 minutes that way. Like, I don't understand why they weren't able to just write more coherent songs. There's no reason for these songs to break down the way they do. All it does is just destroy the listener's ability to enjoy the record. I found myself back in the day, I had the cassette. So I'd be walking from A to B, and even New Noise, which is my absolute favorite, well, next to that and the Refused Party program. And that song falls apart too. But even New Noise quiets down in the middle. So here I am, I'm walking from A to B, and I got my Walkman on, because of course it's a cassette. And I've always found myself having to rewind and fast forward on this record. And nothing drives me crazier than having to do that with an album. I just want the songs to maintain some certain level of consistency, and especially considering that the guitar play is so much fun, it's so memorable, it's so aggressive, and it's just so amazing. It really bothers me that a lot of the times the guitars fall away, and then, like I said, this more like ambient sort of soundscape type shit kicks in and it just fucking kills this record for me. I mean, there's every song does that. Like the Refused Party Program, I love that song. It starts so strong and then it just dies off into nothing. It's like the first 2 minutes or so are great, and then the rest of the song is just completely disposable. And it's like, I remember when I used to make mixtapes, I used to cut out the middle of New Noise and then the rest of the Refused Party Program. And it helped, but because I didn't really have digital editing at my fingertips back then, you just kind of had to do it with like tape loops. Like, you know, you got the cassette A and the deck A, and deck B, and you time it as perfectly as you can in order to try and cut out what you want or double up on whatever it is you want. It always drove me crazy because I'm thinking to myself, like, why did I have to do this? Why do they have to put all this interpretive crap in the middle of it that has absolutely no place on this record? It makes absolutely no sense. Like, I will say, though, what's very cool about this album is Brutus Poem number 5. That reminds me so much of everything that Square Pusher was doing at this point in 1998. And it wouldn't surprise me if the guys in the Refused got into the whole Warp Records thing, because I know Reznor, as in Trent from the Nine Inch Nails, he was releasing a bunch of Warp Records stuff stateside via his label Nothing. He released Autechre's LP5, EP7. He did Square Pusher's Big Loda. I mean, Come On My Selector is on there. That fucking song's amazing. Journey to Freedom, is that on there? It doesn't matter. Big Loda is amazing. He released Square Pusher's Budokan Mind Phone, and I just went blank. There's more. It doesn't matter. So it wouldn't really surprise me if the guys in the Refused, who clearly are very much into the music that they're making, and they just seem to be dedicated to the whole idea of being into music in general, it really wouldn't surprise me if they got into Square Pusher, because like I said, Brutus Poem number 5 sounds a lot like what Square Pusher was doing at that point. And even Brutus Poem number 5, which is a very cool song, it's like better seen as an interlude, right? And it's just, again, it doesn't really have any real place on this album. I loved the marriage of the electronic music with the punk music on this. I thought that was great. And then about a year later, I'd get into the Atari Teenage Riot, and they, for me, would marry electronics, harsh electronics, with like harsh guitars so perfectly, like nobody else would ever compare to them. But I still think what the Refused were going for here, they pulled it off. I do think this record is very cool. No, I don't. Actually, I don't. I can't say this record's cool. I can say part of this record's cool. The rest of this record just gets on my nerves. Like, just pick a fucking lane and stay in it. I hate this loud, soft. One song's this long. The fucking opener again is 7 minutes? You don't open a record with a 7-minute song. You close with a 7-minute song. And then concerning the album closer, what was the Apollo mission or the Apollo moon landing was a hoax or whatever? That song's a waste of 4 minutes. It's like the most anticlimactic way to end a punk rock record, I think, that I've ever heard. And I apologize if I've offended anyone who loves this record. It's just, this record is just way too fucking schizophrenic for me to ever really be able to ever get on board with it and sing its praises completely. It just feels like a mess. And it's felt that way for pretty much 30 years now. So unfortunately, I don't think I'm probably going to change my opinion. But that's where I'm going to leave it, because this is pushing 9-10 minutes. So like always, if you like this review, or you like, oh my god, I almost said movie, or you like this record and you think I'm fucking brain dead for not getting the interpretive side of this record, don't forget to go and do something nice for somebody. But most importantly, like always, they fuck everything. The most important thing here is that the world is actually a way better place because you are in it. And it doesn't matter what you're going through. A, know you're not alone. And B, know that eventually the song is going to change and you're going to get feeling better. I'm not going to get feeling better about this record, but you will get feeling better about your life. All right? I'm getting out of here. Have a good night.